I'm somebody who has so many thoughts that I want to say out loud, but then I get uncomfortable. Then I think to myself, what would they think about me? But then I tell myself, you're a bad bitch. You say what you feel you want to say. This is not a bakery. It is not sweet around here. You say it like it is. Here's the thing, I haven't always had it all together, but I got a little bit of something today. I don't even know who I am sometimes. And I don't mean in that like dramatic and deep type of way. I mean like for real. There are moments where I'm catching myself thinking something or I'll react in a certain way and I ask myself, like, where the hell did that come from? And I know I'm not the only one that's felt that. And I've actually never really said that out loud. My name is Estella Marie, and this is Said Out Loud. I'm not coming on here as someone who has it all together and it's all figured out. I'm actually coming on here as somebody who has just a little bit of lived experience that has forced me to actually figure it out. And even now, I'm still trying to figure it out. And I think part of the reason is because I've actually lived like I was two different people. I've gone by two different names in my life, Estella Marie and Victoria Marie. And let me tell you, those two names don't even carry the same story. One of them learned how to survive, and the other one is still trying to figure out how to live. I don't ever really think that I've said that out loud before. I didn't grow up in instability. I was born to addicted parents. But even before I had a voice, before I even knew what life was supposed to be like, there was already chaos. Foster care, adoption, learning how to read people, learning how to adjust, learning how to stay safe even when there wasn't safety around me. And then I grew up like not really knowing who the hell I really was. And I had to learn to survive. You know, when you learn how to read people, read situations, keep the peace, avoid the conflicts, keep, what's been hurting you inside. When you do that long enough, you come to realize that you are not being who you authentically are. You're trying to be somebody who just survives. And let me tell you, that doesn't just go away because it's going to follow me into every relationship, every friendship, into the way that I think about myself, the way that I deconstruct my thoughts, the way that I react, the way that you love, or even the way I stuff things down or I shut down. I've been in relationships that were absolutely toxic and not healthy. I've stayed longer than I really should have, not because I didn't know something was off, but because I was used to surviving. And survival will have you tolerating things that you know you should have not stood by. I've struggled with addiction. That addiction ended me up homeless. I've had moments where, if I'm being real, I couldn't even look in the mirror and even recognize myself. And then a beautiful thing happened. I had the gift of desperation and I got clean. People don't talk about that part enough. Because getting clean doesn't mean that you automatically have this identity and you know who you are. It just takes away the thing that you are using to numb everything. They don't talk about why you were numbing. They don't talk about how you picked up your first one. They don't talk about any of those things out loud. Because once the thing that you are using to numb everything goes away, everything else gets louder. Your thoughts, your emotions, your patterns, everything that you tried to push down comes back up. And you're sitting there like, okay, what now? Who am I without all of that? Really? And I've asked myself this more times than I could actually count because life now looks completely different. I got married. I started my own business. I'm not in the environment where I actually used to be. But that doesn't mean that, again, I have everything all together. Doesn't mean that everything shifts magically overnight. There are still moments where I question myself. When I get triggered, when I hear something, when I see something, when I smell something, because it instantly takes me back. And this is where I sit with those thoughts in my head. The thoughts that people don't say out loud. Because if I'm being honest, we're supposed to sit here like we have it all together. We think healing means that you don't struggle anymore, but that's not real. Real is when you can grow and still be processing the shit that you're going through. You could change your life, but still trying to be figuring it out at the same time. You can look strong on the outside and still be so unsure, insecure, all on the inside. And here's the thing. I know that I am not the only one living in this space. I know that there are women who look like they have it all together, who are the strong ones, the dependable ones, the ones that we always lean on. But inside, they still themselves are questioning the things that they don't say out loud. That could be their past, their family, their relationships, the versions of themselves they don't like when they look in the mirror, when they yell at their kids, when they are somebody who is acting out because they are triggered. They don't say those things because if they said those things out loud, it could be risky. Of course, we think the normal thoughts like, what will people think? Will they understand? Will they judge me? So what do? We push it down. And then that silence, it doesn't mean that the thoughts aren't there. It just means we're carrying them alone. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't know about you, but I don't want to. So this podcast is where we stop doing that. This is where we say that thing, the thought, the feeling that we've always kept to ourselves. We're not saying it perfectly. We're saying it to get it out. To be honest, we're talking about real life. And those things consist of family, relationships, addiction, healing, faith, identity, that the messy parts, the past, the uncomfortable parts, the parts that don't fit into normal society's standards of thinking or life. And I'm not here on a pedestal, not trying to teach, not trying to coach, none of the things, because I'm right here with you. I'm someone who has lived through a life that was super messy, super confusing, full of survival, but I'm just now getting back on my feet. Just now getting that sanity, just now getting it back together, little by little. So if you've ever had a thought and immediately followed it with, I probably should not have frickin' said that, then you're in the right space. If you've ever felt like you have a voice, but you are so unsure and unsafe in using it, you're in the right space. If you have even questioned yourself, your past, your choices, your patterns, your habits, you are in the right space because you are not the only one. Here's the thing though, you don't have to carry it alone because I'm with you. And this is said out loud. And maybe this is where we could start telling the truth. And this is where we could say it out loud.